what I wanted to do is maybe go back and forth for different things
Okay.
that we think can improve sleep. And so I'll add one. You can tell me
Okay.
if I'm right or wrong,
Okay.
because some of the things I realized over time, like light is such a big one, right?
Oh,
And I think
yes.
a lot of people think, okay,
Yes.
because I have okay blinds that are maybe blackout, but I think even if you let the light in on the sides,
Mm-hmm.
if it's pitch black, like it doesn't matter if your eyes are closed, you can sense a change in complete darkness to some
Yes.
light. And I think personally, I think that will wake you up. Like,
Yes.
do you agree, or is it like do you sub- prescribe to complete darkness?
So I earlier I had said complete darkness and I saw you do like a whoop and like yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah,
So I recommend that, but again, remember like I work with a lot of people who have experienced some of the worst of the worst. So there are people who I've come in contact with who sleep with all the lights on because that is
wow.
the only way in which they feel safe enough. So
Mm,
I think it's a continuum. What then the continuum and where it is the you're going to get the best night rest, total darkness to the point where you cannot see your hand in front of your face. That's the
yeah.
best. But I realize that there will be people who need some type of light, need some type of night light. Maybe you need to have be sleeping with all the lights on because that's part of a trauma that you're working through. So I get it. I've seen a lot of it, but I would recommend for those who can tolerate complete darkness, exactly what you're saying. And I've taken it to the extreme, and it's not necessarily that extreme because again, like what you're saying is people don't realize this, but the eyelids, this is gross, are so thin. And so if there's any light coming in or any changes, it can absolutely be transferred through the eyelids and that can be a signal to the brain and it can cause micro awakenings. So micro awakenings, what that
Mm,
means is it's so tiny and imperceivable, it's still happening, but you may not never ever remember it. You may think, oh yeah, I slept fantastic last night, and yet if we had some type of technology to pick up on that, you maybe did have several micro awakenings, but you just it was so tiny that it didn't wake you up out of a full night's rest. So I would say for those who want to take it to the complete darkness level, um, not just the blackout curtains, but figuring out a way to make sure that no light is coming in. So maybe that looks like, especially under doors, putting some type of weather stripping underneath there or a towel, something like that. If you have any electronics that are having lights or producing some type of light, if you can, first and foremost, getting that out of the bedroom. If you can't, putting some type of like electrical tape or something over that. So a good example is like I have a smoke detector above my bed and it has a little light. And so I've gotten some electrical
absolutely. Get
tape
rid
and
of
I
it.
just have like a little
Yeah,
sticker over top of it. So it
yeah,
just, it depends on the level that you want to take it to. But I think that it's so important that we do as much as we can to make it total darkness. And it's not that hard, set aside like 2 or 3 hours to kind of do this audit and figure it out. And
yeah.
so yeah, if you're like you said, if you have blackout curtains but there's a little bit of light on each side, maybe you can get some sticky velcro from the store and you can kind of just put that up and maybe that's your solution that's very low tech and won't take very
Sure. Well,
much
I mean,
time.
I think Europe has a bit of an advantage on this because we have all these
Okay.
automatic shutters that they're just built into
Yeah.
it. So
True.
like it is pitch black. However, to your point,
Perfect.
I was thinking maybe the idea is, well, having all the lights on is a bit of an extreme case for someone who's been through trauma. But I
Yes.
wonder if just the goal is to have enough darkness, even if you have a nightlight, that the standard of light is the same no matter what time it is. So there is no awareness from the eyes under the eyelids that there's been a change in luminescence in the area. Because I mean, I have a sliding door in my bedroom, and it's not even that close to my bed, but there's a lot of sun that comes in from that hallway. And so
Mm-hmm.
I had even put like a blackout blind over that
Yeah.
sliding door, and I slept another couple hours easier. It was before I'd
Yeah.
wake up at like 6 a.m. and then have to go
Mm-hmm.
back to sleep, but now I sleep straight through. And so that's why I mean I'm such a big fan of complete and utter bat cave darkness
Oh,
when I sleep.
I like to say inside cabin of a cruise ship dark, like that is dark. Yes.
Great.
And yeah, like anything that you can do, and it's like very small fixes, like weather stripping, or like the blackout curtains, or like Velcro, or the electrical tape. Like it's little simple things like that where if you just set aside a little bit of time, that will pay off dividends. So it's really important that we do that if that is something that's tolerable to someone. Now, like you said, I do think that a nightlight that stays constant might be a nice option, or something that I would recommend for folks, especially people who need to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And
Mm.
that's not unusual. That does happen. But as we age, or if there's certain medications or medical conditions, sometimes there are people who that happens more frequently throughout the night. And I would say having a if like I would say in your hallway or in your bathroom, so not necessarily in your bedroom, having a motion censored nightlight. And if you can change the nightlight bulb from, like, normally they're like bright white, if you can
Yeah, to a
change that to
very
like
dull one.
an amber or like a red tone, and yeah, like on the dollar side, but I would say motion censored, so it's not on all night long, but if you get up to go to the bathroom, you're not going to like stumble around and fall, but at least you have a little bit of light, and it's not that bright white light that can kind of signal to your brain like, all right, cool, time to wake up. So those are
Wow.
like a few little recommendations that I would make. Again, like I think the tiny changes make a big difference, and that's a very tiny change, but give it a go and see how it goes for you.